Welcome back to the Getting Results Inc. podcast. My name is Coach Gino, and alongside is Super Coach, Coach Ken. Super Coach, what's new?
Yet another victory in keeping America safe for capitalism. We continue to put the flag and show that being an entrepreneur, taking risks, being integrous, pay off exponentially. Oh, and most importantly, if you want it, you need to earn it. No free stuff.
Right on, man. There are no handouts.
There are no handouts, people. Nothing is free. All value is earned. And so, as Gina will begin to talk about in today's podcast, we will share with you some ideas on truly how to earn it, if you will.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think a lot of that people, when they get these crazy ideas in their heads, because their minds are they're not in control of their minds. They allow their minds to drift, Super Coach. So let's talk about the mind, and let's talk about a concept called stillness that we like to practice with our clients.
Let's talk a little bit about stillness. But monkey minds. Let's talk about a monkey mind first. We're often competing all the time with a monkey mind. You may not know what that is, but sit still for a little bit and soon you will discover that you have an itch, that you have a scratch, you have a hunger, you're bored, you want to do this, you need to get to your phone, what's on TV, how did the Celtics do, wow, it's college football season. Your mind is going 10,000 miles per minute. If you're a fan of the show, which I'm sure that you are, you've probably heard us say the key to success is not about being focused. It's about not being distracted. Now everybody goes, yeah, that's it, yeah. Okay, and then that begets a question, how does one become non-distracted?
Hmm. Hmm.
How do we become non-distracted?
And Super Coach, in this world today, distractions are everywhere, at every corner, at every turn. They're just all around us.
They're all around you all the time. And unless you fail, if you fail to plan or prioritize, it is really easy to get sucked up into everything and anything. I
Right.
heard a quote the other day that we are now in the attention economy. Okay,
Ooh.
it's all about attention, the attention economy. So, and everybody's hearing all this new stuff about AI. Everybody's all excited about AI and artificial intelligence. Just know every social media account that you're on is being monitored by AI, and your algorithm is AI'd. So, as much as you think it's trying to serve you, it's diving you deeper. AI is actively working against you or sucking in your attention
Mhm.
on every single social media program that you're on your phone and or your computer. So this begets this fascinating question, how do I break free?
Yeah.
How do I break free? So we're going to wax and give some sort of ideas and concepts as how does one, not only become undistracted, but how does one build the muscle of either focus or will? Like
Mm.
how does one become more willful? Now, a little plug on the book, on the journey, Evolution of a Financial Advisor. There's a whole chapter on this in there. Highly recommend that you get that book or you read our other blog posts, articles. We got a lot of stuff out there that'll
Yeah.
help nail these concepts home. So let's think about something. Ask yourself out there, can you sit still, perfectly still for 2 minutes? Okay,
Mm.
can you sit up straight, right, without fidgeting, without even thinking, and just sit still? Can you practice controlled boredom? Can
Mm.
you be bored for extended periods of time? If you cannot, you're in trouble.
And let me just make a point on that. That doesn't mean bored doing something like scrolling, being bored. Super Coach is saying completely doing nothing.
Can you do nothing? Yeah, yeah.
Nothing.
And if now you're all right, gonna get offensive. If you can't do nothing for 2 minutes, that means your monkey mind is winning. Now, once again, monkey mind. Go to a zoo, watch monkeys for a while. Like, what are monkeys doing? They're always bouncing around, scratching, fighting with each other. Very rarely see a monkey sit still.
Mm.
Okay, But why? Like, why? So what? What do you mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm busy. I get stuff done. I'm moving. I'm grooving. I'm shaking. I'm baking. I'm constantly in motion. Well, no. What that really means is you're constantly agitated.
Hmm.
Right? That your mind is continually agitated. Now, here's the hard news or bad news. It's not easy to sit perfectly still for 2 minutes. It's not, right? Especially if you're not trained. It's really difficult. Okay, and then if you begin to extend that 2 minutes to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour, then get to the hour level where you're getting really nutty. Okay, it's an interesting exercise. Because one of the reasons why we teach stillness in general is so that you can be present with yourself, with your clients, and to also help you deal with reality as it is instead of what you pretend it to be.
Yeah. Super coach, I think, it's that whole idea of that constant monologue going on in your head, right? We think it's normal. People think it's normal to go, hey, I'm going to have a hot dog for lunch. Oh, did I feed the dog? Oh, wait, the dog. Yeah, I did feed the dog, but did I get to the cat? Oh, speaking of cat, I got to take a cat nap today. And right. And you just go on, and this whole chatter is going on in your head. And it could be tiring by the end of the day after being in your head chattering all day long. It's
Mhm.
exhausting.
Or what did Trump say? What did Trump do?
Mm.
What didn't he do? Oh my God, where's the National Guard? Is that right? Is that wrong? And you're in Iowa and you're worried about what the National Guard is doing in Washington, D.C. Now, I'm sure some of you can make very valid arguments that that matters, but does it really affect you? And is it worth the mental bandwidth that you're investing in it? And actually, what is your probability of return on worrying about the National Guard in Washington, D.C.? Do you know what your probability of return on that is? Zero.
Mm.
Zero, especially if you're in Iowa. Now, if you're in Washington, D.C., okay, maybe you get a little bit higher return on it. But notice the things that take our attention, which begets a deeper question is why did it take your attention? Like as a matter of fact, why do I even know that the National Guard is in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, super
Like,
coach.
well,
What is that?
yeah, like why do I even know about that? Should I really know about it? I didn't know I was in politics, nor did I know I was in the National Guard. I'm not. I'm in neither. But how do I know? Um, it seeped into my attention. You
There
know
it
what I
is.
looked at? The headlines.
It's every.
Or it's the headlines, it's on the news, it's on the radio, it seeps in, which begets a fascinating question. Why am I looking at any of that stuff? Just like many advisors out there who read the Wall Street Journal. Why are you reading the Wall Street Journal? Standard answer is I need to be informed. Okay, my next question is informed of what and why? And
Mm.
also notice what you're reading in the Wall Street Journal. Are you really reading about companies and looking at investment opportunities, or are you looking at the more salacious headlines, whatever that word is,
Right.
headlines? Okay. So once again, let's play this little game. If you think of a cup, right, a cup, right? Think of a cup of coffee. Okay, now the fun exercise we do with all of our clients is we say, okay, take a cup of coffee in your right hand. Okay, look at the cup. Now ask yourself this question: what makes that cup usable? Okay, no one ever gets the answer initially. Okay, what makes the cup usable? People say the handle, the porcelain, the the
Right.
this, the that. Okay, what makes the cup usable is the void is the nothingness of the cup. Okay, you do not pour liquid into a solid piece of glass. You pour liquid into a void
Mm.
or nothing.
Face.
Now, once again, yeah, it's space. It's the space in the cup that makes the cup usable. Now, imagine that coffee cup filled to the brim, much like you during a day. Lots of inputs, lots of deadlines, lots of headlines, lots of tweets, lots of text messages, lots of clients calling, market rising, market falling. So your cup is getting fuller and fuller and fuller until at some point it's at the brim. Okay, and if
Yep.
you know water cohesion, actually the coffee can come above the brim. If your cup is full and it's St. Patrick's Day and you want to add a shot of Jameson whiskey into your full cup of coffee, you put that shot in the whiskey, excuse me, you put that shot of whiskey in the coffee. what happens to the shot?
It's gonna pour out.
Just it's you can't you right. You've sinned against Saint Patrick because your whiskey went everywhere other than the cup. So literally, if you want to put a shot of whiskey in your coffee cup, you must empty the cup. This is a great analogy to life in general. When someone blows their top or loses it, or when you see someone either break down, freak out, scream, "I quit, I'm going home," or I'm never working with you again. When they lose their shit, it's very simple, is that their cup was full, right?
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
overstimulated.
Yeah.
And so their mind short wired, and they started dealing with a pretend reality instead of a real one.
And that's where people look to fill, to escape from that by the end of a day, right? Like you're so overfilled that you don't have any room left to do anything. And that's why sometimes, like, I know in days where I feel like my cup's full, it's even hard to read a book. Never mind, do something else that might require some mental acuity, right? You got to keep creating space in your brain and your cup so that you can take on new stuff or more stuff, right?
Spot on. Spot on. You were not built for 24-hour stimulation. You were not
Definitely.
built to be tethered to the world. Okay, that phone tethers you to the world. Our brains did not evolve in that level of circumstance.
Yep.
Okay, we did not evolve in the level of stimulation that we have. So hence, that's why many cups are full, and that's
Mm,
why many people cannot focus or get easily distracted
right.
because their will is weak. Okay,
And
like
the
in
attention span is short.
yeah, attention, right, bingo. An attention span is very short. Now, the danger of a short attention span is that all value is earned. Okay, no matter what it is that you're doing, you have to put in the reps and you have to have the patience to put in the reps, right? And do you have the ability to focus your mind to do whatever the task is in front of you?
Yep.
Okay, and that's why we teach this concept of stillness. It's not a big deal. Controlled, I like to also say controlled boredom. Okay, now here's a really deep thing. For all you deep thinkers out there, here's a little quote for you. Can you be bored without you? Yeah. So and it's not the situation that is boring. It is you that is boring because boring does not exist anywhere else other than your head. You
Mm.
think trees get bored? Right? Does your dog get bored? Maybe, or they go to sleep. Okay, so boredom, it's a fascinating concept, right? Boredom does not exist beyond your skull.
Yeah, and there's a book we both study in, like, I Am That, and Maharaj talks about mind equals restlessness, in that our
Mm.
minds are always restless, always agitated, always distracted, always looking for the next thing, always on guard, always looking for that next thread or that next opportunity, and we're just so what's the word, bifurcated? Is that a good word for
Ooh,
that?
that is a big word. Bifurcated, correct. Fractured.
Yeah.
Come
Or
on.
the whole thing about the dog thing, right? Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel,
Chipmunk,
squirrel,
squirrel,
right?
lizards,
Right? And we do.
invaders, bark.
Yeah, if left untrained, your mind gets to the point of doing that, and then we wonder why sometimes we can't get things completed or accomplished, or continue to do something consistently and regularly, like exercise, like eating well, like whatever. Because we get on a streak, then we get distracted, and now all of a sudden that habit we started creating is no longer a habit anymore, because now we've gone to the next thing. And then the next thing. Oh, that workout didn't work. Let me go do something else. Let me quit, right? We go from one thing to the other very
It's a monkey
frequently.
mind, right? It's a monkey
Yeah.
mind. So for you financial advisors out there, like, yeah, I don't really need to do this. This is just not me to whatever. Let's think about the nature of the business itself. Okay, ask yourself, why do you have your clients? Okay, and there's only two very simple reasons that you have clients, and it's not because of your financial acumen or your scatter graphs or your wholesaler dinners. The reason why you have your clients is because number one, they like you, And number two, they trust you. Okay, now let's look at likability itself. Like, how do we know if someone likes us?
Hmm.
Think about it. Right? Do you know what the answer is? Yes, you do. They pay attention to you. They pay attention, they listen, they're dialed in, they're locked in, they understand you. Huh. That's got a lot to do with attention. So I'm sure you've all been in meetings with someone who didn't make eye contact with you, or whose leg was jumping around, or who couldn't
Mm.
sit still. Okay, and they're just like a crackhead bouncing around the room. And you have to wonder at that when someone can't sit still, like what's going on in their head? Do they gotta pee? Do they need another hit of coffee? Like what's going on with her? It violates the concept of likability because when someone likes you, they pay attention to you. So it begets this interesting skill. Do you have the ability to pay attention on demand? Okay. Do you have the ability to pay attention when money is not on the line? So
Mm.
money often, like a commissionable event, has a tendency to focus people. But can you be focused when it's not necessarily a commissionable event? Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, it comes back to this idea of like and trust. And a still mind is that people are attracted to a still mind. You do not want a leader whose hair is on fire. Okay.
Or an advisor whose hair's on fire.
Well, example, the advisor is the leader, right? Leader of the
Right.
branch, leader of his
Yeah.
clients, and if
Yep.
their hair is on fire, that sends a really bad message.
Yeah, that whole saying they're always on rollerblades or roller skates, right? Like that people, that whole idea of busy, busy, busy too, right? People think of that as oh,
Mm,
so busy, busy,
badge of
busy.
honor.
They think it's a badge of honor when really it's the complete opposite, right? I see
Hmm.
that as a complete negative.
Correct.
You don't want to be in that mode all the time.
Correct. If
Absolutely
you're right, the brutal truth is if you're really busy, that means you're very ineffective. And
not.
effective people are not busy.
Right.
Oof. Man, but we're often conditioned that busyness is the key. The busier you are, the more important you are. But if you look at real life, like in real, very effective people, they're usually not running around with their heads cut off.
Yeah, and think of this. If you're listening to this podcast right now, what else are you doing? What are you doing? Are you flipping through something? Are you scrolling? Are you
You're
doing
driving,
something?
yeah,
Are you driving? What are you doing? Because that means if you are doing something else, you are splitting your attention off. Can you just focus on listening to us right now and not do something else at the same time? Hmm.
interesting challenge. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about stillness. Because you notice even my language cadence, it's the space in between my words which makes my language listenable. It is the
Hmm.
space within the cup that makes the cup usable. It is the space within your house that makes your house livable. So I want you to imagine your living room right now. And in your living room, instead of one couch or two couches, you have 26. Okay? If you had 26 couches in your living room, you would no longer have a living room, you would have a warehouse. It would be unfunctionable. Okay, you wouldn't be able to watch college football Saturday. Too many
Hmm.
couches. So, like quite literally, you need the space in your living room to make your living room functionable. So, wouldn't the same principles apply to your mind?
Hmm.
Like if you have too much stuff in your mind, no new stuff can get in, and the stuff that's in your mind may be jumbled.
Yep.
So imagine if you had the ability to consistently take a break to allow the mind to settle, right? To come back to center. There's a wonderful analogy about a pool of water. If you have a pool of water and it's perfectly still, you can see your reflection in it. Okay, or you can see the sun, the sky, the trees, whatever your pool of water is by. But if you throw a rock into that pool, all of a sudden the image is blurry. You're not seeing, you can't see clearly. Now, if you're having a hailstorm and there's multiple boulders of ice going into your pond, you can't see a damn thing, right? So if you can't see anything, you can't deal with reality as it is because reality is disturbed, it's blurred. But if you can come back to center, come back to that still point, it smooths out so you'll be able to see reality as it is instead of what we pretend it to be.
I love that. Uh, and also think of this. You put the rock. Think of your mind as that pool, and the rock disturbs the pool and creates that disturbance, and you can't really. It's not clear. Imagine the things that happen each day that you allow to be that rock and disturb your mind. One thing after another. Do you react fast? Do you get agitated? Do you even feel it in your body? Your heart rate goes up, right? We're not even talking about just being clear in thought. We're talking also what physiologically what happens in your body when you're constantly on alert and you continue to be distracted all day long. It's stressful. It's not good
Yeah,
for your health.
spot on, spot on. And you know what stress really does for you? What the benefit of stress is? It makes you stupid. Right? The greater the stress you're under, the stupider you become. And there's nothing wrong with being stupid. You just have to deal with the messes that you create. Now, a fun story I always tell around this is about, I'm sure you've all seen it. Bad boys, they're coming for you. It's cops. Okay,
Yep.
and if you've seen the show Cops, this is a great example of accelerated stress levels. Because one day I'm watching Cops, and of course, every criminal seems to have a uniform, right? Either they don't have a shirt on, or they have a wife beater on. Okay, it's either no shirt or wife beater, and they're being really dumb. Like so it's the one skinny guy decides to fight the five linebacker police officers, right?
Right.
He decides to fight them. Or the guy without his shirt fleeing from the police decides to jump off the bridge to escape from them, and he breaks both of his legs to fall. Now I'm watching these things, I'm being very condescending. I'm like, man, look at these criminals. They're criminals. They're just so stupid. Of course if you're a criminal, you are stupid. And then I had a moment of revelation. And that revelation was, wow, they're people too. They're kind of just like me, maybe a little different circumstances, but they have brains, right? They have, wow, why are they doing such stupid things? Like, why would the skinny guy decide to fight the five linebacker police officers? And it was in that moment I had that revelation. I was like, oh, yeah, he's under a tremendous amount of stress. People with guns are chasing them, or they're going back to prison. Okay. And so the stress level goes through the roof. So now it goes not frontal lobe. When you're under tremendous amounts of stress, if a lion, tiger, or bear is chasing you, you need to run fast, not cite Shakespearean sonnets of love and happiness. You don't use frontal lobe in high stress environments. So fascinatingly enough, the greater the stress that you're under, right, as stress rises, intelligence goes down. Think of the last real fight you had with your wife. Okay, was that really over an intellectual concept, right? Was that really a frontal lobe matter, or was the stress finally hit a level? You don't understand me, blah blah blah, and then you started yelling, or you started doing something dumb.
Yep.
And the reason why you're doing things dumb is just because you're under a tremendous amount of stress. Like I said earlier in this podcast, when people blow their tops, okay, it's because literally the cup overfloweth. It just pops because stress. Because once again,
Yep.
stress and intelligence are inversely related. And there's nothing wrong with being dumb.
Yep.
You just have to deal with the consequences of being dumb, which burns bandwidth, which takes you off mission, takes you off point, which makes your purpose in life that much harder because you're dealing with messes.
Love it. Super Coach, you just mentioned the cops, but there's a couple examples on TV recently. There was someone in Rhode Island, the AG of Rhode Island, assistant AG,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I even saw that one too. More poison in my
right.
mind. Why do I
So,
know about
so
that?
again,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about there. Cup overflow, and you get crazy. You do stupid things, and then you add alcohol to it, which I'm sure was there too. Then it gets even worse because you're trying to disguise the stress or numb the stress, and that don't work. And then there's another one I just saw the other day where the guy that won $167 million, the one of the last big pots this past April, real good citizen. He spent 30 years in prison. Now he's $167 million. He gets in a fight and he starts fighting cops too, and now he's in jail again. $167 million.
It's fighting
Stress
cops.
makes you stupid.
Right. All right. And once again, nothing wrong with being stupid. You just have to deal with the consequences of being dumb.
Yep.
Okay. So what this really means is like any kettle, right? Right. The kettle has a boiling point and then the steam comes off. The idea is to prevent the boil. So how do you do it? So it's a stillness exercise. Ideally, you're taking a simple little exercise on. You can do contemplative prayer if you have a religious stint to you. You know, do contemplative prayer. You can use apps, whether that's Calm or Headspace, or you can use, I believe Gino and I's favorite. You just sit there and notice your breath, right? You
Mm.
do black belt level, not these little tools and crutches of Headspace and Calm. And I'm not poo-pooing them. They're very good, get you learned up. But next level is you have to be able to do it on your own. Okay,
Yes.
and the exercise is really simple. You sit up straight in upright yet erect position, like you're at the Thanksgiving Day table before you say grace and your mother says, sit up straight. Okay, you just simply sit up straight. Sit up straight, hands flat on your legs, and you just shut your eyes and then you breathe. And you just breathe in and you breathe out. And you breathe in and you breathe out. I'm not going to take you through full exercise, but that's what you simply do.
That's
And
simple.
and and to put a cherry on top of this, set a timer, set your watch, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and just sit and breathe. Now, as we work with clients, we say, okay, start with 2 minutes. And those first 2 minutes are going to be hard. That may take you 6 weeks to do 2 minutes, or it may take you 6 years. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay. But the practice itself will begin to reveal things to you that neither Gino or I could ever teach you. Okay. And you'll actually become friends with someone you don't know very well, and that person is you. Like, who are you really? Who are you behind your thoughts and your feelings? Because your thoughts and your feelings come and go, much like the clouds, much like the seasons.
And Super Coach, the true you, not the you think you are, the you that you maybe bash and despise on one day and you're happy about the next day, and another day you're frustrated with that you. We're talking about the true you, which there's a good chance you're not connected with that person yet, but that self, but there, it's there. And we are so frequently distracted by everything else in our world that we don't even know who we truly are.
Right? Be still.
Hmm.
Be still and know who I am. I am that I am. Deepness, deep thoughts there, grasshoppers.
Yes.
Deep thoughts. Okay, so once again, tie some of this stuff together. The mind likes to drift, right? The mind likes to go to different places all the time. Just think about something that your mind was built so that you could live this moment to survive. So your mind, either consciously or unconsciously, is constantly monitoring the environment that you're in for threats, for opportunities, for whatever it takes for your survival. And it's easily distracted. Okay. So through will or through attention, you can always bring it back to breath. Now, this becomes very important when you're sitting with a prospect or a client that you're
Hmm.
actually in the room, right? You're there with them instead of on an agenda or instead of on vacation or instead of at home petting your dog, right? Like being connected with an individual is a superpower that accelerates likability. And so this little exercise is just simply sitting still and breathing will help you realize when your mind drifts, okay? When your mind is no longer in the room. And what you do, you just simply back, bring it back to your breath. Now, this is one of the simplest yet most profound and hardest exercises to teach, okay? Because the value of this exercise comes from the practice. Okay, and the practice can only be A, only you can do the practice, but B, the insights can only be revealed to you, right? Like if your cup is overflowing, you get the analogy, okay,
Yep.
but do you really viscerally understand that? Okay,
Yep.
and then how do I empty the cup? Okay, and there, and stillness that you don't have, once again, there are 10,000 ways to practice stillness. You don't have to do the ways that Gino and I shared with you. But just notice what are the things or activities that bring you back to center,
Mm,
right? That feel like an exhale. For some of you, it may be walking your dog. For some of you, it may be doing woodworking. For some of you, it may be shooting your bow. Some of you, it's pottery, writing, arts, fiddling around in the garden. I don't know what it is, but you do. And if you don't know, you're playing at disadvantage.
right.
Okay, right? Because to control thyself, know thyself, and to thine own self be true. If you can't control yourself, you're at disadvantage. You're at disadvantage to someone who can.
Yeah,
Right?
and an example of that is if you do say, "Hey, after this call, I'm going to start practicing 2 minutes of stillness each day." And each day you find that when you go to do it, you avoid it, or you find something else to do, or something else, pushes it out that something else became more important. You got to start to question, who is it that's doing that? What is it that's doing that? That's that mind again, avoiding you sitting still. Don't believe what the mind's telling you.
Do you have the will to repeat?
Mm,
Okay. Like, well, I don't think we've talked about A activities, or maybe we have. We make a distinction with our clients about that there are some activities that are more important, more beneficial than others. Okay, they enrich and reward you, although the reward may not be immediate. Exercise, eating well, time with family, time with great relationships, etc. Stillness is also one of those activities. It's
yeah.
an activity that enriches and rewards you. But like anything else, it doesn't happen unless there's a structure for it. Okay, we gave you a couple clues. Okay, watch my breath, set a timer. Okay, set a particular time of the day, a particular
Yep.
space. Right, these are all areas to practice. Or you can join. I'm sure there are groups around here. Once again, or a prayer group, contemplative prayer,
Yep.
meditation places, Zen places, Taoist places. There's a lot of places where you can go down deep in this particular rabbit hole. But I'll loop things back. The business is based on likability and trust. Okay, how does one become trustworthy? They keep their word, they do what they say. You can practice becoming more trustworthy by keeping your commitments. Check out one of our podcasts. I think it's number 31, right? 31, podcast 31.
Or somewhere
Okay,
around there.
okay. And the other factor is likability. And once again, what is the nature of likability and how does one practice being likable? Hmm, right? How does one practice building the muscle of attention?
Mm,
And this simple little exercise covers all those things. One thing we didn't mention, what happens when you get to 2 minutes? Like how do I know if 2 minutes is enough? Okay. You will know when 2 minutes is enough when time and space seem to disappear, when 2 minutes feels like nothing. Once you hit that marker, then you go to 3 minutes. Okay, and then you repeat. You repeat that exercise until 3 minutes seems relatively easy. And then you go to four, then you go to five, and then eventually you work your way up to 20. 20 seems to be the magical number, at least according to Huberman, and who knows all things. Yeah. Right.
yep. Yep.
So go to get to 20. And then if you choose to, you can go beyond 20 for a very simple reason, because it's hard.
Mm,
Okay. And you may find something else beyond 20.
yeah.
Like who knows how long you can go.
I really feel like this is so similar to working out and building muscle, right? Or getting stronger. Your
Yes.
mind is similar. It isn't going to happen after one workout. Is it going to happen after two workouts? Heck, it isn't even going to happen 2 or
After
3
20.
weeks of
Yeah.
workout, right? But eventually it starts to take, and eventually you start getting stronger. You start adding muscle. The same is with the mind. The more you do it, the more consistent you do it. To coach's point, you can add a little bit more. Just like when you're getting strong, you add a little bit more weight or a few more reps, and then you add a little bit more weight. Same thing with the mind is as you become more practiced at it, you'll be able to add more minutes. And it shouldn't be a rush. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Take your time. Let's get it right. Let's calm
Right.
the mind.
And just think about long term, is it better for your business for you to be in control and for you to be present, or for you to be agitated and busy and bouncing off the walls?
And here's the scary thing, coach, when you think about that, right? Think about some of the most successful people, and they're kind of scattered, right? Imagine if they garnered the power of stillness.
They
What
were
would they
dialed
be
in.
capable of? Whoa.
Right. That's right. That's the scary part. Like, whoa.
It's
Like,
scary,
right. Right. Like, whoa.
right? Like
What
if you're a
else
$1
is
million
about?
producer and you're all over the map, and all of a sudden you get honed in with your mind, what are you able to do then?
Yeah, that's fun. Hey, that's why we make elite producers elitier. That's part of the elitier magic
Bingo.
is to control thy mind, to control thyself, know thyself.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So here's, I would say, right? I think an action step for someone is after you listen to this podcast, set a timer on your phone, 2 minutes, start doing it daily, practice it. See what comes up for you. See when you don't get it done, what happened? When you do it, what happened? Why did it happen? Right? Start to look at this and then keep practicing and keep practicing. If you fall off the horse, don't worry about it. Just get back on.
And I think one time, a long time ago, when a teacher said to me, he said, Ken, if you can't control your attention and will for 5 minutes, how are you ever going to achieve your goals?
Hmm.
Right? I'm like, ooh,
Pretty
ooh,
simple.
right? Like if you can't control your will and attention, because when you sit, it's interesting things happen. You get itchy, you're bored. Is this the most effective thing? Am I doing it right? Is somebody watching me? If they are, what are they thinking of me? Did I take a shower today? Like your mind wants to do what it wants to do, but then there's your will. And you have to
Mm,
ask yourself, which one will you allow to win? Your will, your intention, or your feelings, your itches, scratches, etc.
yep. Yep. And or what's the easy thing that could be easier to do than stillness? And again, what is most worthwhile are the things that you earn and you work at them. So
All values earned.
there it is. You work at stillness for a couple minutes, or you can go flip through a phone and see which one gives you more value.
Instagram for 10 minutes, right? I mean, that definitely
Ooh.
fills the cup.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it is. There
Yes,
you
yes.
go. There you go.
There you go. There you go. Let's see
I'm
what's.
still, I know in a few years we're gonna hear studies that were done on the damage that
Mhm.
scrolling on a phone, Instagram, all this stuff is they're gonna see. And I know it's gonna be around stress, shorter lifespans, all that stuff. Because I don't think people realize how much your anatomy gets affected by what's going on in your brain. And the trigger of that is this damn phone with the stuff on it. So I think we're gonna see some crazy stuff in the future about that. So, anyways, Super Coach, any last words before we close out our podcast today?
Next time you drink that cup of coffee, ask yourself what makes that cup usable. Okay. It's the space within the cup. And do you have the space within your life, the space within your brain to make yourself effective, to make yourself usable? Or are you overwhelmed or agitated or stressed out? And remember, if you're stressed out and agitated, you're dumber than you need to be. And once again, nothing wrong with being dumb. You just have to deal with the consequences of being dumb.
Thank you, Super Coach. To those that listen to this podcast, please share our podcast. Forward it to friends, peers, anyone you think that would benefit from learning about stillness. We could be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and of course our website, gettingresultsinc.com under resources. Thanks for listening today. Until next time, be great.